Hi Cancer, and welcome to your January 2021 general reading. So wherever you are in the world, I wish you the best 2021. So what I'm going to do first is pull some Lenormands. I haven't done them yet. Oh, you get the 4-leaf clover and then you get the ship. So both very, very beautiful cards. So the 4-leaf clover is very obviously about growth, expansion, tends to say about good luck, but in reality there's no such thing as good luck. There's this being prepared and then meeting the forces of destiny in a very, very prepared way. So beautiful card with the ship. So the ship is about literally moving forward. I mean, the image tells the story. I don't use a book for the Lenormands. They've got some traditional meanings, but they're very, very much about the image. So the ship is literally, it's just moving forward to a brand new world. It's very, very air-like and very, very interesting because we're obviously extremely saturated with Aquarius energy. The higher awareness, the universal mind. So there's a lot of access to change for you by the looks of it, Cancer. And by the looks of it, very prosperous change. And when I mean prosperity, money's just one aspect of that. There's also relational prosperity and health prosperity, spiritual prosperity, but that's what the 4-leaf clover, is to me. It's about that inner joy, which really extends itself to the world around us, which is what we're all being asked to do with the Aquarius to Leo access. So I'm going to pull a set of cards for you for your reading. I just need to be quiet for a minute, guys. Actually, they're fine. The readings I've done today are already for Cancer, so I feel quite connected with you. Knight of Pentacles with the 6 of Swords. So Knight of Pentacles is a very, very slow moving energy. This might be an earth sign person. It's very slow, but remember your opposite sign of Capricorn. When you integrate the earth energies, things, it's about being connected with the slow, gradual unfoldment of life, and learning to be at peace with that. The 6 of Swords is a transition card, very, very, very similar to this card. So moving forward, what I feel with the 6 of Swords is she's not quite sure where she's going yet. With the boat card, there's a destination in sight. So another good thing about the 6 of Swords cards is leaving behind the 5s, and the 5s are always very, very big transitions in our life, can be quite tense. So what you want is the 4 of Cups. The gift is the 5 of Swords, which is really strange because the 6 of Swords is leaving behind the 5 of Swords. As the gift, the 5 of Swords as a gift might be about putting boundaries down. The challenge is the Queen of Wands. Relationships, you have got the Death card showing up. So in the natural zodiac, the astrology will be within your 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio. Scorpio rules our deepest attachments. This isn't always about obvious death, guys, okay? When the big astrology hits your 8th house, there's going to be some energy, and very, very dynamic energy brought into your one-to-one connections. Money and work, you get the Hermit, which you've been getting for ages. Can be acting as a guide, that's what the Hermit is. a guide for others. There might be a desire to self-reflect. Some of you might be working from home. Just the sort of typical things here. Four of Pentacles at soul level. Then you get the Seven of Cups, and then you get the Wheel of Fortune. So why do you want the Four of Cups? Because it's what you want, I'm not going to read it in its shadow. Because the Four of Cups, the Four of Cups is what you want. There's two ways I can read this. The fours all represent stability, okay? So they all do. Having things solid, having things quite secure. It's also got a different meaning to it. And the Four of Cups can be the fact that there's dealing with maybe someone, might be you, it might be someone that you're dealing with that they're not very emotionally dynamic, okay? This Four of Cups is a card of there's nothing wrong, no cups have spilled, but there's a lack of passion and a lack of emotional dynamism. Probably why the Queen of Wands is a challenge. Because the Queen of Wands is the ultimate in self-expression. She's extremely sexually dynamic and very, very emotionally dynamic. And what I'm wondering, if some of you are dealing with a situation that's a little bit emotionally flat. Now the security's there because it's a four, but there might not be a feeling of, it's almost like, oh, where's this going? Where's this going? And if the big astrology is falling in your 8th house, I mean, that's only in the natural zodiac. Aquarius is about revolutionizing this part of your life. So the emotional dynamics, bringing life to it, bringing truth to it, bringing basically it's about revolutionizing it. And there's almost a very, very clearly a potentially an emotional dynamic which is not, it's not bad with the Four of Cups. None of the fours are. And that's why the fours can be quite hard to make a change, because a certain amount of our needs are met. But the challenge is there's just no emotional dynamism here. Sorry, my accent. So why is the Five of Swords the gift? Because the Five of Swords is the gift, is sometimes when it's the gift, it's about setting boundaries. Yeah. Sometimes it's about setting these boundaries and being okay with setting boundaries, which is actually quite a hard thing to do, especially as a water sign, because you feel the energies of other people. So when we feel that empathy of other people, we don't want to cause them harm. But the Five of Swords, why is the Five of Swords the gift? Because this might help me. It's with the Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups is obviously a card of love. It's a card of connection. It might be reconnection with someone. It's very, very much the soulmate card. So if this was a gift, if this was the first card, I was talking about reconnection, a lot of love flowing between two people. Look at the cups that are overflowing. But the Five of Swords was the first card, and this is some sort of message about some sort of change needs to happen here, because the challenge is the lack of dynamism. And I cannot help feeling for most of you this is showing up in your relationship front because of the natural zodiac. I don't know where it's falling in your individual birth chart. Okay, that's up for you to find out. Maybe some of you just You've been feeling separate from someone. There's just not enough emotional oomph. So why is the Death card in your relationships? Things are going to be very, very scorpionic for you this year. So Scorpio rules our deepest, deepest, deepest self. And obviously those really deep attachments as well. So you get the Ace of Wands there. And the challenge is the Queen of Wands. And what you want is the Four of Cups. So there's something to do here. It's almost a message that it's almost there's this desire for, you know, this oomph, this passion, this innovation, this creativity, to come into your relationship, okay? Or relationships. Maybe some of you aren't in a relationship and what you want is this energy. If that's the case, guys, the Death card is always a card of shadow work. So releasing what blocks it. And sometimes that's the work we need to do. We need to say, oh my gosh, there's a block here for me. And then we do the deep, deep diving work of the 8th house in Scorpio. And that's what creates the soul retrieval. That's what brings our energy back from the dead. If we don't do that work, that's what 2020 was all about. But it's still going on for the next few months. And there's almost a message that some shredding, there's some shredding of the past needs to happen. There's something going on around a lack of emotional, I want to use the word passion, energy. And maybe some of you have to do some letting go of what was. It doesn't have to be a relationship. Sometimes working with the Death card is letting go of past relationships, you know, releasing old energetic bonds. I've got a video for that on my website about releasing these bonds so we're free to move our lives on, okay? Now, you've got the Hermit in your money and work, so the Hermit can be a bit of guide, it can be a need to rest. The Hermit tends to act as a guide for other people. He's been on this very, very long soul path, and his job is to guide other people through this soul path. That's the Hermit's job. So some of you are obviously doing that. For some of you, you might be very sort of withdrawing a little bit from other things in order to refocus your energy on your place in the world. That's what the Aquarius age is about. We've all got a very, very unique gift to bring to this world. Every single one of us have it. And most of us, and it's not going to be everyone, but a lot of us are beginning to feel this call. And it is the call to bring more of our authenticity forward. And obviously to help other people more who haven't started walking the path yet. So some of you might be acting this way, just studying. Some of you are clearly working from home. Okay, so the Four of Pentacles is at a soul level. You've got another 4. So there's 2 4s showing up. See, the 4s are great. They provide us with that feeling of certainty, that feeling of security. The problem with the 4s is they can cause some stagnation. Okay? And there's almost a feeling, Cancer, of you need to shake something up here. And that's why the 5 of Swords is the gift, because the 5s, no one likes the 5s, because they change things. But it's the 5s that shake things up again. And funnily enough, that's what's leading to the 6. So this might be having to put boundaries down, put limits down, say no, in order for reconnection to happen and for passion to come back. That sort of energy here. The Four of Pentacles at soul level, again, there might be a lot of focus on your security. I think it's going to be common for most of us. Or some things became too safe. And it's became too safe at the cost. What cost? Tell me. Yeah. At the cost of, I mean, either you've become too safe, Cancer, so you've removed yourself a lot from life. I think we're going to be dealing with that an awful lot. That's the shadow side of the Aquarius energy. So losing our feeling of connection with other people. And that's what some of the fours can do. Okay, we feel safe, we're fed, we're warm, we're nurtured, but we're not feeling this energy. And that's where the Queen of Wands again is a challenge. This beautiful queen whose energy just runs right up her spine, you know, aliveness, vitality. And it's almost a feeling, Cancer, you've been asked to shake things up, to reconnect with your vitality, to reconnect with your heart. Some of yous, it's the journey to it might involve doing some shadow work in your 8th house realm. So the 8th house, again, it's our sexuality, it's our deepest connections, but it's also where we've buried everything. So that is why our deepest relationships bring up so much for us, because we've buried everything down here, and then we enter into intimacy, and then the shadow comes up. Or sometimes it comes up because we can't enter into intimacy. Everyone's story is so different. That's why astrology is so good, Cancer. When you know your birth chart, when you know what you need to work with. Because there's a sense of safety here, but with a loss of passion, vitality, connection, and love. Okay? So you're representing maybe most of us as we walk into 2021. And there's this desire. It's almost like, you know, when a whirlwind comes and it stirs everything up, and then after the whirlwind is gone and calmed down again, we feel so much freedom. That's exactly what it's about. So first of all, you do get the 7 of Cups. There's still very Neptune realm. A little bit of, remember, the water trinity. We always work with the 3 water signs. So this is Neptune realm. A little bit confused, a little bit, there's rainbows here, there's bubbles. It's sort of beginning to, you know, what's right for me? Is this path the right path for me? This one, is this the right relationship for me? Should I, you know, and then you get the Wheel of Fortune. So Fortuna. Fortuna's this Italian goddess, and she's Italian goddess of love, prosperity, financial, and to do with our passion and sensuality. She's turned up for quite a few people. I can't remember who else got her, by the way. And this is really, really, really the energy that's required here. Now, we've all dealt with 2020 in a very, very, very different way. This year is a critical year. It's probably one of the most important years we'll ever live through. And its importance lies still in shredding what is no longer our authentic identity and bringing forward what is. Between now and probably April, is the most critical few months to being your truth. And there's a message here about you being in your truth, and something needs to be stirred up. Okay? Now, what is it that needs to be stirred up? I think it's to do with a dynamic in your relationships. What needs to be stirred up? Give me one card. Oh my God, you get another 4. So it's the 4 of Wands. Now, I do read the 4 of Wands a little bit differently, because the 4 of Wands is another card of transformation. Because look, Dragonfly. Again, there's a lot of security and there's a lot of stability here. But there's a flatness. And the Dragonfly is a bit like the Death card. It's a mutation that needs to happen here. And it seems to me it particularly needs to happen about the 5 of Swords. And the 5 of Swords is one of these cards sometimes of having to say difficult things, having to say no. I had this thing over the last couple of months that it was okay for me to disappoint people. Absolutely liberating, guys. When you start to, it's okay for me to be in my truth. You know, those who have empathy can be so sensitive to everyone's needs, when sometimes what we need to do the most is shake things up, especially things that became too stale. And there's a feeling to me that some things became a bit stale in your life, and I can't help thinking it's to do with your because of the cards. I think it's something to do with your deepest relationship bonds. And sometimes it's either the ones that you're in, it's not having any that's the problem, and we need to thaw this area out. And the way that you thaw something out that's became frozen is just to bring heat to it. So bring awareness, bring light. You know, it's a very important few months, guys, for the future. If you don't know, you should really know where the astrology is happening in your house. I've just read your natural zodiac because I actually believe in the natural zodiac. There's something really, 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 but then you've got a natal chart, and the natal chart will tell you where you potentially became a little bit, where the work needs to be done. And when we talk about the work that needs to be done, we're always talking about Scorpio and Pluto, Saturn, Chiron. The work that no one wants to do, but everyone does, really. Because they want this wheel. I mean, who doesn't want to live like this? Who doesn't in their right mind want to live with this heart and this relationship with their Venus nature? So relationship with her Venus nature is just about a relationship with love, with yeah, it's a relationship with love, by the way. And who doesn't want to be the Queen of Wands and have this passion and this open heart? But I think for you, Cancer, there's a shaking up that needs to happen here. Yeah, and I understand Cancer often doesn't like it, where anyone's moon is, they don't like the shaking up. Yeah, but I think you've been asked to. Okay, guys, there's a link to my website below, and so much love. Please, 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 Cancer, just take my deepest advice and do the work that needs to be done here. Okay, bye.